What is up, podheads? Back with another episode of the Podioslave podcast. My name is Tony, joined as always by Anthony.
Hey.
I like that you're doing the hey at the beginning, because honestly, that piece, the last couple times I've edited, I'm like, oh, Anthony's voice is in the beginning. I like that. That's good.
Well, it's my way of letting you know I'm here, even though you're looking at me.
I'm looking at you, and people are going to hear your voice here shortly. Anyway, and they're hearing it now. But yes, and you know what we're doing tonight? We're going for the garbage plate. Right? That's what we're doing tonight.
Everyone that's listening is like, what the hell's going on here? What are you talking about?
Maybe. If you clicked on it, you know we've got Joey and Bri from CLIFFDIVER, and if you are here for them, it's coming in a second, and you know what we're talking about with going for the garbage plate. If you don't, and you've not ever heard CLIFFDIVER before, like, what are you waiting for? Like, there is some fun stuff in there. Go check out what they've got going on Spotify. You can leave us for a while. I don't care. Like, go deep dive. Have fun.
Yeah, insert elevator music. Okay, you're back. Thanks for coming back. You did the full catalog deep dive. Now you know what you're talking about. Now you're on our level here. Yeah, we had Bri and Joey, CLIFFDIVER, both. What are they? Co-vocalists, co-lead singers?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you'd say. What is the proper?
We should have
term?
asked them.
We should have asked them. Co-lead vocals, and they complement each other great. They have completely different style vocals, but you know that because you just checked out the deep dive. But yeah, we were super excited for this. When did we get into them? A couple of years ago. Well, we talked about it with them in the beginning of the episode, but we got into them.
Andy hit us up in the DMs and was like, "Hey, check out New Vegas Bomb." I think right around when that dropped, so a year and a half ago, and we were like, "Wow, let's try to get them on." Where we just deep dove what was going on with that band, and we're super excited about it. And finally, the stars aligned, and the new record's coming out, and we had a chance to talk to Bri and Joey. So Joey put the call out on Twitter, as we talk about here in a minute, and that is a 2024 way to find a guest, right? That doesn't happen very often that way.
Yeah, no. When you, I think when he put the call out, you, I think, commented and then maybe hit him up in the DMs, or I don't know how it went down, but you texted me and you're like, "Wow, that was easy."
Somewhat. I was like, maybe, just in case it doesn't happen. That felt kind of easy, like, but we were able to put it all together, and they were phenomenal. This conversation's great. The new record, Birdwatching, out on 9/20 on SideOneDummy, is phenomenal. We both listened to it multiple times. They were gracious enough to let us have a little bit of an early taste. You're going to be super excited. It's got something for everybody. If you're aware of what CLIFFDIVER is as a band, you'll know. If you aren't, please pre-save that thing and go listen to it, because it is really, really good.
Yeah, there's if you're familiar with them, like you'll listen and you're like, yes, this is definitely CLIFFDIVER, but there's some chances taken. I think this is and we say it in the episode, Exercise Your Demons, I think, was a level up at that stage in the band's career, and I think this takes it to another level. It is an exciting time for them. You know, that tour with Prince Daddy and the Hyena was just announced, and then who else is on it? Ben Quad's on it.
And Heart to Gold, yeah, and they're going out west and southwest and Seattle, and yeah, they're playing all the places we don't live, but at some point we've talked that they're going to find a way to our neck of the woods and maybe play in IKEA.
So yeah, we're going to get into this episode. Before we do, if you're here for CLIFFDIVER, thank you for joining us. If you're here from the Boston Manor episode, the Eddie Reyes, formerly of Taking Back Sunday episode of the audio event,
yeah,
that was last week. Whoever you're here,
the Trawl boys.
The Trawl boys. However you got here, thank you. Check this out. Check out the back catalog. We love it. And here it is. Bri and Joey, CLIFFDIVER.
We're excited to talk to you both because we saw Joey put out the call on socials, a couple weeks ago now, probably close to it. And we were introduced to CLIFFDIVER a year and a half ago, and by a listener friend of ours, Andy, and we listened and we were like, ooh, we want to talk to them. And we tried last summer, but I think you were on tour and it just didn't work out, and there was no way to make it happen. But then we saw this message, and I was like, Anthony, we gotta we're gonna strike. We're gonna jump on this right now. We follow each other. The DM's open, so we can try, and it worked out. Here we are talking to both of you, Briana and Joey. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, right when you guys messaged, I was like, yes, we can finally make this happen. Because I think last summer was just chaos. Opening in a van for Inside Summer was a wild experience. You know, we'd have to leave right after the show, some of the shows, and drive all night, and then show up there in the morning and have driven all night and just be like, all right, let's party. So we appreciate you guys being patient.
We've interviewed some people on tour, and it's like it's never good for anyone because it's like daytime for us, and it's someone that's like, you know, the rest of the band's waiting for them, and it's connection always sucks. So this is the way to do it. So hopefully, I know a tour was just announced, but you guys aren't on tour yet. So hopefully it's a good time for you guys.
Perfect. Couldn't be better.
Perfect.
Yeah, new records coming, and we'll talk about that. We have some questions for you about that because you were gracious enough to share it with us, and we spent some time with it over the last few days, getting ready to talk to you. But we do want to give people, some of our listeners, a little bit more of a context of the band. So Oklahoma, right?
Tulsa, yes, sir.
And your area is kind of having a moment. There's a bunch of bands from that area right now that are popping off. You guys, Ben Quad, Red Sun, to name a few. I think I saw a post today you guys put up that named a bunch of them. So yeah, pretty cool spot right now for music.
It's been really cool because Tulsa's always been a music city, you know, going all the way back to its founding. But it's, you know, mainly there's red dirt and country and all kinds of genres, but there wasn't a big like emo scene necessarily, like it's pop punk alternative. But over the last couple of years, it's really had a renaissance of bands just coming together and all being pretty awesome. It's been really, really awesome to watch, as it used to just be us, Ben Quad, and a band called My Heart and Liver are best friends. And that was the only three bands in our scene. So we'd play shows all together. And now there's so many bands, and it just there's nothing that makes us happier as a band than sending a message in the group chat being like, yo, check out this new band. They're incredible. And it happens every weekend we go out. You see a new band, you're like, wow. So Tulsa has the sauce right now. As my son would say, it's definitely Ohio skibbity at the moment.
Yeah.
He's not even here, but I can feel him rolling his eyes from his house. Out of nowhere, he's just pissed off and he doesn't know why.
Well, bands are repping okay too. Like I remember All American Rejects is from Oklahoma, but I don't think I think they like hid that. They were like, no one's gonna know we're from here.
We knew that. Yeah. But I think we had to tell people, you know, and now it's like, I mean, and it's not just, it's like the hardcore scene. Even you have like Peeling Flesh out of Oklahoma City. They're doing so well right now. Chat Pile, you know, on that Grimmer shit. I love them. It really is exciting around here because I feel like it's also, we're getting better shows coming through as well because it's kind of drawn some attention by, you know, just people also in the scene or near it. And so it's a really exciting time to be a Tulsan for sure.
Yeah, it's I mean, we grew up, we still live in Maine, but we grew up in southern Maine, and it had its moments and off and on has been busy, but never popped off like that with all those bands. We'd have one big band or two big bands at a time, and they would rep Maine, which was cool, but didn't ever make too many of them make it out to get to that national stage. So you guys on the national stage with a bunch of bands from Tulsa and the Oklahoma area. It's pretty wild.
I mean, it's tough in Oklahoma to tour because, you know, at first you think that you're like, oh, we're so far away from all the cities, but it's actually the perfect spot because you can go either coast equal distance. And so a bunch of more bands are seeing that and getting out, and it's awesome. I think we're about to see a lot more too.
So that's current state. Let's time travel. First CLIFFDIVER show. So Joey, start with you. Your first CLIFFDIVER show. Like, did it pop off, or were people like, what the fuck is going on here? What was going on?
So our first show was at a college poetry reading after party. So it was a bunch of, you know, University of Tulsa kids who had thrown this house party where they were doing a poetry reading for some class or something. And they were like, you guys want to play? And we were like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. So we go in and it's just this packed house. There's 40 kids there. And, you know, we'd been a band for probably a month and a half at that point, and we weren't good. I mean, there used to be more video of like the early days of CLIFFDIVER, especially like it was interesting. It was interesting how we made it to here. But that night, I don't know if it was just our energy and like the fact that we were so excited. They lost it. And like we played our 4 songs and they called for an encore and we're like, we don't have any more songs, man. We can just play the last one again. And they were like, yeah, play the last one again. And we were like, okay, man. And it was truly just one of those really cool moments, because this is my first band since I was 17. And I always dreamed about, playing those kind of house parties and stuff like that. And so it was really cool just to get that energy and be like, oh, yeah, I need more of this. I need to do this way more often. And we haven't stopped. Haven't stopped since then. 6.5 years, I think. We're still going.
You said there used to be video. Did you scrub it from the internet?
We're trying. We've reported a lot of videos that don't exist. They don't look for them. There's no reason to. They're not there.
That's not a lie. That's not hyperbole. They have reported videos to try to get them off the internet.
Texted the dude who owns the video and been like, brother, please take it down.
Yeah.
It's not nice. I feel like you're bullying us at this point. Like, just take it down. No luck. So, but it is nice now. I used to be a lot angrier about those. I'd watch them and I'd be such a harsh critic of myself, especially just being like, you're awful at this, blah, 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 just all that negative self-talk. And now it's cool to watch them and then go watch one of our ones from like the early November tour we just kind of got back from and be like, holy cow, like the growth is so cool to see, just as a band, and then me as a frontman and as a singer. Like I've gotten way better than I was, when I was wasted on stage 6 years ago. So it's a cool growth thing now. You have to own your past, and you can't be embarrassed of the fact that you used to be cringe and probably still are, and that's okay.
Bri, you joined the band a little later. When was the official joining?
October 2020.
Okay. So during the height of the pandemic.
It was, the guys were working on Gas City, and they had called me and Daniel from When the Clock Strikes, another amazing Tulsa band, to come do guest vocals. And they were like, it's kind of like we wanted to write a song and put something out, and we just want to have fun with it. And so we were recording, in separate rooms with our masks on and stuff. But throughout, we just had a really great time recording. And I think it was days I got like a message from Joey that was like, so like, wouldn't it be so funny if like you were just in the band? And
yeah.
I think
he's twirling his hair while he's doing it.
That's how I imagine it going.
Wouldn't it be crazy? Wouldn't it be crazy? Just crazy. Be crazy.
Like, indulge me for a moment. And I
don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. That's not funny. That's not funny.
But I was on board pretty quick off the top, especially because where we were in the pandemic. Like I was like a full-time musician by that point. And I made all my money in Tulsa doing live music. Like, Tulsa's a huge live music city. So private parties or just residencies, whatever. And I was in a Tulsa sound band, and we would just play for like 4 or 5 hours, do covers, and make money. And suddenly that was dead. And we weren't really a recording project at all. It was all live. And so as far as my music career at the moment, it was dead. And so it wasn't so much a question, like I wasn't leaving anything on the table at that point. We didn't know what was going to happen in the world. We didn't know if live music was ever going to come back. It was not a point in my life at which I would have said no to, I think, anything. I was doing a lot of studio work, features, whatever I could do just to figure out what music was even going to be looking like in the future, because it was such an unsure time. But it ended up being just a really healthy thing for me at that time too, because I was so scared, like my career's over. This is what I've built up for myself. And now that's gone. Because I didn't bet on a fucking pandemic.
No, right. Nobody did.
Right, exactly.
So what was your first show? It was obviously post-pandemic. I'd say we're technically still probably in it, but post-pandemic, you finally get out there. That must have been pretty cathartic. And then getting to play, with the band that you're now in.
It was crazy because our first show with CLIFFDIVER, and there was such a long gap between when I joined and when we played. And it was just enough time to make me extremely nervous. Like, really, really nervous. And I hope I heard your whole question because my daughter barged in just a moment ago. But the gap between joining the band and then getting to play live, on top of the fact that our first show was at Kane's Ballroom, which is like our big hometown jewel venue, and it was sold out. So
Nice.
a little bit of pressure, a little bit of anxiety, but a whole lot of support and a whole lot of love. And at that point, we had released Gas City, and we had kind of already announced that I was going to be in the band, which was what I was probably the most afraid of, and kind of getting over that hump and what people would think, because they weren't a new band. They had released 2 EPs at that point, and Lost in IKEA was doing really well, and it was so intimidating. And I didn't know what people were going to think. I mean, everything from just messing up the pH level to full-blown diversity hire. Does she even know, what she's talking about here? I don't know her from the scene kind of shit that I'm just anticipating. Yeah, exactly. Because it is bullshit. And I had to, I think it's those things that have kind of kept me from making this music. I've been going to shows since I was 10. I know this shit. And I've never done it because I couldn't even imagine my voice on this shit or how to make that work. And so how, other people, especially if they have things that they haven't worked on internally, they're just going to come with opinions, and probably shitty ones and probably narrow ones. And I felt like I had to be ready for that. 1, with the announcement, 2, with releasing new music with them and whatever change that brings. And then the live show. So there's so many components that I was just fucking freaking out about. And the live show was such a big, affirming, validating experience, because it went, I mean, now if you show me the video, I'll throw up and try to destroy it.
Yeah, don't watch Vegas Bomb from that show.
I did exactly once and never again. But yeah, I think that like getting over that hump and it going so well and people being so receptive and so warm, that was, I think, the only reason I even made it to getting to write and record the album with any sort of confidence, because I was just convinced that people wouldn't get it and that I just ruined this incredible band. And God, here we go. They don't even know. They don't even know how mad people are going to be. They don't even know like what the response is going to be. So, we all took a shot, and it's gone well, I think,
And I said, if anybody has anything to say, fuck them, because you're better than they are. So who cares?
Yep.
Who cares what any losers say? You're a rock god, and people just don't know it yet. You know it. I know it from the first time I heard her sing.
Hey, people,
I was like, holy shit, that's the best singer I've ever heard.
Yeah,
for her other band, Nightingale. I still think that. Best singer in the world.
So it's kind of funny, though. Like, right around this time, it's kind of when you signed to SideOneDummy. So, like, I'm just, no offense, Joey, but just saying, like, Bri, I don't know, it might have had something to do with that. I don't know.
I have no doubt that it had anything to do with that. For sure. We would not be half as good or a quarter as good, even good at all. Bri took us to that next level and continues to push us all to be better musicians. So me as a vocalist, especially. I mean, I'm way better than I was 4 years ago. And that is from learning and watching and having to force myself to level up so people wouldn't be like, hey, dude. That still happens sometimes. That's fine. It's we do different things. There's 2 of us.
Well, that's kind of cool too, though, because you get to do different things, and it comes through in the songs. You get to hear you guys going back and forth at each other in a song is awesome, and you're right. It does level it up. It makes it. You just don't know what you're going to get from song to song, which we love.
And exactly right. And like, because that's the thing is, like, even though what I bring is different, I still have that ingrained, shitty singer love when it comes to alternative music. You know what I mean? I don't, hearing that I'm a better singer that, technically than, someone who has been doing this a long time or what I grew up on doesn't really do that for me, because there's a sound, right? And there's a groove, and it's all, that's the whole point, is it's stereophonic now. It does, we can do both. Get you a girl who can do both.
We can do whatever now. It's freedom. And I think that was really reflected on this album more than ever, was just us being like, let's just do it. Whatever we want to do, we can do it. Whatever we want to write about, we can do it. It doesn't matter. You know, let's keep them guessing. No one knows what's next. And that's half the fun. That's what I think is going to make people really like this record is not knowing what's next. Going from a, you know, synth heavy hardcore song to an acoustic song, you know, it's like, you don't know. You don't know. So
can confirm.
Remove your expectations.
Tony and I have been sharing notes all week.
All week.
And I mean, we'll get into the record, but like he's like, yeah, didn't expect that, but it works, or you know, something like that.
So you signed to SideOne. How do they find you guys, or did you shop your stuff to them? How'd that work?
Our lawyer Henderson Cole knew one of the guys at SideOne. His name was Thomas, who was kind of the first guy that really got into what we were doing. And we of course knew about SideOne from way back in the day. You know, they were one of those labels. For me, it was the Warped Tour albums. You know, those were the first non-Christian albums I ever bought. Besides the first Third Eye Blind album, which I would skip the first song because he said "goddamn," and you know that was too much for me. But you know, I always, when I was like 16, I was like, I want to be a SideOneDummy band because I thought all those bands were on SideOne. So it was one of those moments when he's like, "Yeah, I sent it to this guy at SideOneDummy," and we're like, "Oh shoot, yeah, that's cool. That's unexpected. That's cool," because we just, you know, heard from some other labels who were like, we don't care if you're a good band live, we just want Tic Tac bands, you know, that kind of stuff. So we were starting to get kind of discouraged. And then, you know, Thomas, he just got it. He got the album. He called us and was like, this is what it feels like to me. And we're like, that's what it is. And it just, it made sense. And the amount of love and support they gave us right off the bat and believed in us and made us feel like we weren't crazy for doing this whole thing, for changing everything. And you know, Phil now is our guy at the label, and he's one of the best people I know. He's a great dude. He honestly is just a genuine person who loves music. He loves music, and we're lucky to have him, you know, really believe in us. So
it's a good home. Like it is a good home for you guys. And you know, do you sound like other bands? No, but you don't sound like other bands anyway. You know, where are you gonna put? It's funny. I have a buddy at work that is always interested in what we're doing with the podcast, and he's like, who you got coming up? And I'm like, we have this band CLIFFDIVER. And I was like, have you heard of him? And he's like, no. And I was like, you'd really like him. Like, you know, and I'm just rattling out, you know, emo, pop punk, some ska. I'm like, they got 2 vocalists. They're from Oklahoma. They're on SideOneDummy. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, trust me. Just trust. It works. It works really well. Go listen. And he did. And he hasn't reported back. So the verdict's still out. But as a label, it must be tough to, you know, either you like it or you don't, you know, and they clearly took liking to you guys.
Yeah, and I think that, and that's kind of the thing, right? You got to be ready for a surprise. If you have a very worn groove in your mind of what you like, that's great. I remember one time there was like some discourse on Twitter, and it was like, how would you describe CLIFFDIVER? Someone had just asked it, or like, what genre is CLIFFDIVER? And I think the best answer I saw was razzle dazzle.
Yeah. Yeah. Razzle dazzle core was what they called it. I was like, hell yeah.
We need to print some shirts, man. I like that.
I love it. It's better than cringe core. I mean, like,
it's true.
That made me so happy. I'm just like, we're just razzle dazzle. We're going to dazzle them. We'll razzle them and dazzle them.
Yeah, I would say that you do. And we're on the eve. We're recording this about a month before Birdwatching comes out, but Birdwatching, September 20th, right, on SideOneDummy. This will come out a couple weeks prior. How are you feeling right now? I mean, it's done, so you know it's going out to the world here soon. How do you both feel?
Just ready for it to be out. I've listened to it too many times, like way too many times, like just going over it and over and over. So I'm ready to show people. I'm really proud of what we did, and I think it really shows what we're capable of with not a lot of preparation. So it just really, it made me happy that we didn't leave anything on the table. Like we put everything we had into this album, and I'm just ready. I'm ready to share it with people because I think people will get it, and I think people will like it. I think people who had maybe written us off in the past will be like, okay, you know, maybe I'll give this band a second listen, and then be like, okay, this is good. This is weird. It's just weird, and we're excited about the fact that it's different and non-linear and hops all over the place. But it's supposed to be a soundtrack for your life, so it deals with all kinds of emotions, everything that you might deal with in your 30s, as you're coming to terms with the fact that you haven't prepared past wanting to die at 28, and you're like, all right, cool. So I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm just ready.
I just turned 40. Could you have put this out like 4 months ago, but when I was still in my 30s and needed it?
Hey, it counts, dude. I think it's
old,
just
man.
the same. And you are old. Yeah. I'm 37. I'm still super young. So
yeah, I'm jealous of that right now.
Grandpa over here.
My beard's going gray. It's already in there. It's making its way up down.
No, I'm excited too. I kind of the same thing. I feel like I'm just an anxious person in general, and I still haven't kind of lost that fear that like people still don't get it or don't trust me to know what I'm doing, or approach anxiety. I don't know, or all these things that might disqualify me before they even get to my music, and that's always really scary. Like I as much as I understand it, I am very intimidated by the whole alternative scene. And again, that a lot of that has to do with just representation and just alienation and kind of just feeling that. But I'm always excited to hear what people think. And I think especially this album, it's a really honest snapshot of what CLIFFDIVER is, like what the project is in my mind. Like it's just fucking honest. Like we were really brave. We did some weird shit. And when you're in the studio, you have one shot, right? And you either overthink everything and then get in there and go to execute your recipe perfectly, which is what we kind of did with the last album. And then this one, it was more like we had pieces that we knew were really good. And we just had to trust ourselves, trust Brett, who we made the album with, who is a king among men, like my favorite person. The adoption papers are going out and I hope he signs them to be my new dad. I love Brett. And he just, like, him, the environment, like we really bought in. He bought in, we bought in. And it was like, let's see what we can, who are we here now spending 14-hour days for 30 days in a row in New Jersey with this guy? And what do we want to say? And it's just such a good picture of who we are right then, right there, and what we did. And I'm excited to be able to show that, because it feels like you're really introducing yourself. It really feels like I didn't overthink it. This is just who we are. Take it or leave it, but please take it. And like it's honest. So I feel like I'm kind of ready for any kind of feedback, because I know she's a weirdo, but I love her. And and I'm excited to show her off.
Hell yeah.
So two things. One is we're Brett fanboys.
Totally.
Crime and Stereo is my favorite band of all time. I've traveled across the country. I have every pressing of every record.
Oh my God. And we got to work with Gary. So when Brett wasn't there, Gary was there. And that's just the thing, is like that pressure of working with him and just knowing who he is and what he's done. These Hot Mulligan records that are coming out of that studio, like all these things that he's just had his hands in, and just not wanting to make light of that. Because I love that you love Brett, because everybody who's ever met Brett is obsessed with Brett, because Brett is life. And I will be the person to start the cult. I swear to God.
Well, he's your dad. I mean,
well, exactly. He just needs to sign the papers so that this can all be official and I can start making money off of it somehow. But I think, like any good cult.
Yeah.
And we had a saying that was "let go and let Brett." So that's nice. Our one of our official mottos was just like, you know what? Just let go and let Brett. He knows what he's doing. We just gotta believe that we don't know what we're doing, but we gotta believe Brett does.
So, and we've asked this of many bands, producer wise. A lot of times they're like the fourth member, the fifth member of the band. For you, was he the eighth member of the band?
He was, absolutely. 100%, probably more than he wanted to be at times.
He was the 134th member of CLIFFDIVER.
Is it hard to create with that many people? And not that being on a podcast is anything like creating in a band, but Tony and I, to align on a topic or someone to reach out to, sometimes there's like some back and forth there. You add in 5 other people. I mean, Jesus.
This album was way easier than the first album, because the first album, it was our first thing. We had, 3 members who we'd never recorded with. Tyler had joined, Gil had joined, Bri had joined. And so we were all still trying to go back and forth. And it was this thing where people couldn't really criticize, but then everything was so man, I just want to be good as everybody else does. So there was much more walls up. Myself, especially probably because it was a whole new thing from going these are the songs. With our second EP, it was I wrote these songs, these are the songs, this is what it's about, this is how we're doing it. And then to it took a while because, anxiety guy too. You get nervous, but this album, it was it's so good because there are 7 of us, because we had 7 people who have different opinions, different backgrounds musically, but everyone shares the passion for the project, for the band, for each other. And so now it's if you can get an idea past all 7 of us and all 7 of us are let's go, then you feel really good about it. You're okay, good. We're all on the same team. And I think there was a lot more freedom here to be our drummer being hey, why don't you change this word to this word? And just being yeah, let's try it. Let's go right now. Let me go back in the booth. Let's try this. And I think that lends to why I love this album so much, is because it is a labor of love from all 7 of us. Just everybody was bought in completely. Everyone was invested, and everyone just loved being there and loved what we were doing together. And, you'd get the chills. Everybody sit on the couch and someone would hit a chord right, or, get a drum thing different, and we'd all just be, going crazy for each other. And it was really special. I mean, it's tough with pay.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Touring with 7 people, 8 with a photographer, it's tough. But we get to put on different shows than a lot of other bands do, because we have all these moving parts. So it's you get bored of one member, just shift over for a second. And then, yeah. There's tons to see. We're all moving around going crazy. So
you get an odd number. So you can vote, vote. There's always a vote,
Which is rough. That's the rough part. Day off, where do you want to go eat? Then it's Survivor, where you're trying to get 1 or 2 people.
What do they call it? You
got your tribes going to war, and we're all right, hey man, if you go to lunch here, then I will back you up on coffee tomorrow morning. So there's definitely some politicking, that's for sure.
Yeah, it can get real Big Brother up in that bitch.
Yeah, I would imagine. So let's talk vocals a little bit. How do you know if a song is a Bri song versus a Joey song versus both?
Or do you not know?
Or do you just not know?
This song tells us, because even on the last album, there were songs where I wrote 90% of the song, Joey sang the entire thing. There's songs that Joey wrote and was here you go, and I learned it because that, it's just been very about what's best. And so there are times where we will literally both sing it and be nah, dude, you sound great on that. Go. And very, very, very seldom does it come down to an argument or a real disagreement, because something always just makes sense. It's just always worked that way, or we find something. And it hasn't really been a point of contention for me. I think it's always just been about what sounds good. What if it's not in either of our keys, throw it the out. There's 8 of us. If this doesn't work and there's 8 of us here, hello.
Yep. Brett helped a lot too. Be all right, you're singing this part. Now Bri's going to come in with something that's a little bit like this. And then Joey, you're going to come back in here. And so we just be yeah, sure. I mean, that sounds great. Or whatever you think makes the song best. People, when she first joined the band, people were well, aren't you, you're not in the spot. I'm when I'm not singing, my favorite singer ever is singing. I'm great. I promise you that. I promise you. I'm not sitting there going, oh, when's it I'm going, let's go. I'm hyping out on stage, for it too. It's a partnership. It's a partnership. And it always has been. We've gotten to a point where it's, Bri's one of my very best friends in the world. We've talked so much about so much of our lives, together on the road. And it's just it's a bond where I trust her completely. I'm not worried at any point about any of it, because it's always about what's best for the song, what's best for the band. How do we make this work so we can all accomplish our dreams and pay for our kids' colleges? That's what it comes down to. So there's never any friction when it comes to that. It's like, hell yeah, dude, let's get it. That song is awesome. Let's go. And it's the best. It's really the best. I couldn't ask for anything better.
No, there is friction, but not about that. That is one thing that we are blessed.
No, it's the coffee place the next morning, right? That's when the friction happens.
Well, we're definitely brother and sister. We're siblings. And so we fight like siblings do, where it's like, all right, Briana, that's enough of that. That's just quite enough of that. And then
I'm a little bit of a hater. Yeah. No, I mean, like, I'll say it, like, so it's more, and it's like you said, he had to get used to that, right? Like little sis coming up and being like, are you sure you want to use the word blah? Like, or it doesn't rhyme and it should, or that doesn't have to rhyme, like, and not being used to that just by nature, that's friction, that's just something where you weren't expecting it before. So I think if anything, those are probably like our opportune moments to really talk and work it out. But at the end of the day, like we said, we have 7 filters for shit, and then Brett at the end of it. If something can make it through all of us, then that's what we want. That's because that means that it's pure us. That's concentrate right there, baby. That's juice. So don't get mad when you hit the roadblock. Figure out how to get through it. Figure out what pull from people. Like if there's an opinion, if it hits, because in my opinion, if it hits my bassist ear weird, it's gonna hit somebody's ear weird, and he knows more about music than a lot of people. That's such a valid fucking opinion, and I can't imagine being somebody who you trust enough to be in your band, but not enough to be like, that lyric sounds cringe. Please don't say that on an album where I'm playing bass.
And that happens. That happens sometimes. And we're like, good point, Tyler. Good point. We got you, dude. Well, let's rework that then.
Well, whatever system you have worked, because I'm looking through the track list and I'm thinking back of all the songs, and I'm like, Days Gone, that's Bri. It would be a much different song if you're singing on it, Joey. And like Black Lodge, that's you, Joey. It'd be a much different song if Bri's on it. I'm sure they'd still be great, but where you guys landed in whatever process, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and you guys should be really excited right now, because I think this is gonna pop off. Like I think Exercise was a level up. I think this takes it to the next level.
Thank you, Tony. We haven't really gotten a lot of feedback on the album, so like that means a lot. So thank you very much.
We're just 2 idiots from Maine that
have done this idiots from Maine
for 200 episodes, but doesn't mean you know what we're doing, or have a good ear. But
closer to 250 now, Anthony. But yeah,
I trust dude's name Tony. All right, I don't know really any bad Tony.
Do I?
You were in New Jersey for a while, so you ran into a bunch of them too, I'm sure.
Ran into a bunch. We love New Jersey, though. I mean, besides the tolls and Atlantic City, I love New Jersey.
The left-hand turns, the gas situation, and the tolls.
Yeah. Oh, the tolls.
Probably, and also, South Jersey's obsession with Philly. Go live in Philly.
Right. Yeah.
Go live there. There's not enough sports teams. Like you live in New Jersey. Be in New Jersey.
Jersey does have a good view of New York City. I'll give him that.
We played in Jersey City, where the Devils are from, and Bri got gifted from the Devils organization this gas Devils jersey. Wears it out on stage in Jersey City. People lose their mind, right?
It's a Jack Hughes jersey.
Yeah, greatest thing ever, and it's like this awesome moment. And then we go to Atlantic City. And Bri's like, oh, well, it's Jersey, so I'm gonna wear this again. And one of our friends from there was like, don't do that. And Bri's like, it's all Jersey. And so she walks, she's wearing it. We're like 2 songs in. She's like, what do you guys think of my jersey? And everyone's like, no. and like, believe it or not, nobody really boos Bri when she's on stage. It's not something that happens a lot. So I see Bri's like, what the hell is happening here? And so me being a wrestling heel, I'm like, hey, you guys know I'm a Cowboys fan, right? And then they're all like, no, oh yeah. And I'm like, gosh, give it to me. Yeah, I'm on stage in Philadelphia going, hey, you guys just cheered for a Cowboys fan all night, so thank you very much. And they're like, oh, I love it. I love it.
Do you remember the Bloodhound Gang, that band?
Yeah.
Do you remember they had a song called The 10 Greatest Things About New Jersey?
I didn't know the deep cut.
Do you remember that song?
No.
It was 10 seconds of silence. That was the track. That was the track.
Wow. Sorry, New Jersey, if you're listening.
Please come back,
that's
Jersey
messed
fans.
up. Because I do love New Jersey. I do love New Jersey. I love the pasta shop in New Jersey. I've had some of the best food ever there.
Serious.
And some of my favorite people live there. I could honestly, I would move to New Jersey like tomorrow.
I'd move to Asbury Park yesterday. If I could, I would move to Asbury Park yesterday, and I would have a sweet little Victorian by the beach, and I would just go down there and pensively stare and pretend to be Tony Soprano all day, and my life would be great. Like, I'd have no real problems. It'd be awesome.
Tony. Another Tony.
I would become Tony.
He wasn't as good a guy as most of the Tonys in this room, but yeah.
Hey, has CLIFFDIVER ever played Maine?
No, we would love to come to Maine. We haven't hit like North New England at all, like New Hampshire, Vermont. Like we played Connecticut once or twice. Once at a sex dungeon, and the other time at a place across the street from Yale. Very different vibes. But no,
I wish that was a joke.
Was the sex dungeon the same place as the after poetry party?
No. This was an all ages venue by day and a sex dungeon by night, which we get there and we see these like riggings in the ceiling. And I'm like, what is that for, like acro yoga? And the guy's like, kind of. It kind of is. And then we see the big cross, in the corner. We go.
We start looking around the room and things are coming into focus. Like, oh, what does that chair do? There's a hole in it. Or like, look at these saddles. Interesting. And so like literally they just pushed all of their equipment to the side so that we could have our show. And they were very gracious.
Except for that guy who threatened to shoot me when we got lost in the building.
Except for the guy who said he was going to shoot you.
He said he's going to find me and kill me because we knocked on a door trying to find the venue inside this building. And he's like, not a smart idea knocking on people's fucking doors, dude. I'm going to fucking kill you. And I was like,
to be fair, you knocked on the dude's door.
I knocked on it. I shouldn't have. That was silly.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, geez.
Not in Connecticut. I mean,
right?
Everybody knows that.
That sounds like quite the versatile space that they've got all those things going on, shows and sex dungeons and whatever it was during the day. Like, gee, that's wild. So you've seen a bunch of different places, but you've never made it up our way. You got to make it up our way.
We'd love to.
Yeah,
we'd love to. Like in the fall, like not this fall, but because we're doing stuff. But like I'd love to see the trees in the fall in Maine. I've heard it's spectacular.
Yeah, good food.
It's about all we got. So that's
the coast is nice. We still live here because we like it, Anthony. I mean, the winter sucks, but I would imagine the winter sucks a lot of places where it's cold. So
better than the summers here. So
it's true. Yeah, we just had a beautiful 72-degree day here. So
it was 103 at one point. So same thing.
All right, Birdwatching. Favorite track, Bri. Favorite track. Putting you right on the spot.
Yeah, that's kind of rude. You said no gotchas, and here we are.
Gotcha.
I would expect the gotcha guy to lie, so that's fine. Okay, so I think that my favorite track is it was when we left the studio. It was Days Gone. I've heard it a lot since then, so I keep thinking of the unreleased tracks. But the true favorite song walking out of the studio was Days Gone.
Banger. Yeah.
I love that one. It was stuck in my head for weeks. I mean, coming home from the studio, cursing myself because I just couldn't stop. Driving down the road, I lost my keys. Like, just
so good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I basically like live tweeted the album as I listened to it, but on my own little notepad. I didn't share it with anyone. And my notes for Days Gone.
You share it with me.
I shared it with you. I said Briana flexes vocally on this, super polished, and then quote Days Gone, can't count on anyone, because that stood out to me. Great track.
Dude, thank you. I think that was the one that I got off the plane. I had left New Jersey. We were there for a month, and I came home for a few days in the middle to see my husband and my kid. And I came back, get off the plane. I walk into the studio, and actually it was a Gary day, I think. And he was like, we're going to need you to do Days Gone right now, because I can't, we need the vocals on it. Like, I can't hear this banger without vocals another second. And so I did that one off of an airplane that I had gotten onto at like 5 a.m. that morning, and it could not have turned out better. I was so pumping full of adrenaline and like so hyped to see the boys again. It was like the perfect timing to record it. And I think I had a lot of fun on that one. Just even recording it, just getting to be back in the studio. Like I just remember that and it felt really good.
How about you, Joey? Favorite song?
Okay. So
I know what you're going to say.
Well, for a long time it was this one, but I think it's changed. I think it's changed slightly. Midnight Mass is probably the one I'm proudest of because we went in there with just the chorus and we were like, here's an interlude. That's all it is. Here's an interlude. I just kind of want this in between stuff. And he was like, no, write me a song. This is not a song. Write me a song. And I was like, well, it's not supposed to be a song, Brett. It's just like a little fun thing. He goes, that's so lazy. Like, stop being lazy and go write me some verses. And so, you know, to pull that one out and it being about, you know, recovery and sobriety and kind of addressing the things you miss about it when you get sober, because nobody really talks about that. It's like, my life is so much better. Yes, it is, absolutely. But, you know, there's still sometimes Friday night where I'm like, man, I really wish at 2:30 right now I was getting texts, where the party at? Like, what's going on? Where you at? And like, there was that the feeling of community and of those relationships. And yeah, it was toxic and drug addled, but like there were some times that like they were special then. And so to be able to write about that, you know, I'm three years sober now. You know, I hit 1,000 days in the studio, and it was like, man, I'm in such a different place than the last album. And so many of our songs in the past were about drinking. So it was fun to kind of be on the other side of that and then write a song that I just really enjoy singing on. It's different for me. It's all whispery, and you know, it was fun to not have to just be the screamer like I had been in the past, like to show different sides of my vocals. And so that's my proudest song. But my favorite songs, I think it's got to be You Might Could. I reckon You Might Could, I suppose, because the ending of that song, just like, I found on some bad days, I'll go in my car and literally just listen to the end of that song and turn it up as loud as it goes and scream along with, you can hear my voice fading slightly on the 12th time we did it, you know, in the mix. But there's such a feeling of, I don't know, it just feels like triumphant to me. And I love it. It makes me happy. And I think that song's gonna catch a lot of people kind of off guard, you know, and I'm excited about that one. I think, I don't know, between those two. Or Wood, though. That one also is one of my favorites.
That one's fun too. Yeah.
Bri going hardcore in that is just like the greatest thing we've ever done as a band, because no one will see it coming.
Well, that was exactly the text we had back and forth. Like, whoa, CLIFFDIVER into Wood. They're like, what is happening right now? So that's exciting stuff. If you haven't heard this and it's not out yet, go check it out.
Well, Tony, he texted me. He got through CLIFFDIVER, and I forget what you said exactly, but it was
didn't see CLIFFDIVER coming. Yeah,
and then you get like 3 minutes go by or 2 minutes, and you're like, didn't see Wood though coming either.
Didn't see Wood though coming either. Yeah.
So the CLIFFDIVER is great because it was like Donnie's first day in the studio, and we're like, Donnie, we have a 50-second punk song, and you're going to do the vocals on it. Our saxophone, he's the one screaming. That's him.
Oh wow.
So we're like, you're writing a song about birds. And he goes, I don't want to write a song about birds. And we're like, Donnie, you're writing a song about birds. And he goes, I'm not, though. And we're like, okay, you know, write about whatever you want. And so he wrote this, in typical Donnie fashion, this self-help mantra about loving yourself, and just screams it, you know, and it was incredible. It's one of my favorite moments from the studio, was just him being like, what are you talking about? I'm not writing a song. And we're like, you are. You're going to write this. This is your song now, Donnie.
That's awesome.
And we had to see it through because everybody on that song had switched instruments. Matt, who's our guitarist and like main, you know, riff master, he was originally a drummer. So he will hear drum parts sometimes and have to be like, no, Elliot, play it like this or whatever. And they get into drummer talk. He goes in there and he's like, this is how I want it played, and ends up laying it down. And then Elliot's like, so what am I supposed to do? And so Tyler ends up playing guitar, like our you know, and so everyone swapped instruments, and we were sitting there, and it was like, wouldn't this be hilarious if we made Donnie sing it and write it? Like if we're all just swapping, you know? And so yeah, no, he shows up and he's none too happy about it being sprung on him, and like a lot of pressure. The song was already recorded, and we were ready to go, and it was like, no, megaphone to the world, man. What do you want to say? And the thing about Donnie is, like like Joey said, he is known for having his nose in like the Four Agreements and The Secret, and like he has read every self-help, mindfulness, manifestation book.
Think and Grow Rich. He's
100%.
Yeah, I bet.
Dude, he's our guru. He is our guru.
He's Zen.
Yeah, and he walks in, and once we talked him into it, he was like, I guess I would tell people, you know, like you have to get better, you have to evolve your mind. And so like they take him through it, and they're just writing down words of what he's saying, and they're like, hey, you can write a song, dude. Here it is.
You just did it.
You did it.
Well, we're song like sequence geeks,
yeah.
And Tony pointed out that like the B side of the album is like, it makes sense. Right? You have Guitar Pro, then you get into CLIFFDIVER, like that's where those belong. And so you nailed that.
Thank you.
That one was easy. Easy.
Well, and the opener and the closer. I mean, you nailed those too. So we're really excited for it. So we hope that people who are listening to this are as excited as we are, because you guys are too, it sounds. So pretty cool stuff.
I want to know what you guys thought.
Yeah, send us your notes, please. I need to know.
If you're okay, I mean, I've added a couple of little things to it myself, but yeah, when we're done, we can send you the whole thing. But we can read a few other things. I wrote Midnight Mass was a standout for me. I loved the back and forth on team fight tactics between the two of you that like underscore like conversation. Like, do you even know what you want for dinner? No, I don't. Like, I fucking love that line. I love the shitting on the Cowboys. Not that I'm a Patriots fan. I don't have too many ill will towards the Cowboys, but that, like, I watch too much football. Yeah, especially for a Cowboys fan, like that stuff was awesome. I love that stuff. So that's stuff that stuck out to me that I thought was fun.
Just wanted it to be like a relationship, like a real relationship, a healthy.
That's what it sounded like. Yep.
30s relationship, and we never written a love song before, so it was fun.
My comments for CLIFFDIVER, I'll read them verbatim. Love this. Whose idea was this? And then Wood, though, goes heavy with some screaming. That was a comment. But I Reckon, which is the last song, great closer, sounds like classic CD, epic end to the song. That's a great. Yeah, we always like say like the closer lands the plane of the album. We always like saying that. And it does. That song lands the plane of this album perfectly. And I know like the last song kind of gets lost in like the streaming era. So I hope people take the journey with you and land it with that. It's a great song. It's a great song.
Thank you. I think it was the first song that we recorded. Like when we got there day one, he was like, what do you want to do? And that was the first thing that we had kind of pulled up. And by the end of that day or the next day, it was like, this is going at the end. Like once we had that ending, it was like, okay, that's it. Everything else leads to this now, because, you know, that's it. I feel like it was always kind of the outro for the whole damn thing is just, you know, chill till you go to hell or whatever, you know,
Who gets final say on song titles?
I know, right?
This one was a communal effort where everyone we did it together. In the past, you know, I'd done a lot of them, especially the EPs, where it was just, you know, me in my car stoned and being like, this is funny, that's funny, you know.
They're funny.
All my problems started the first time I saw Cameron Diaz in The Mask. Is one of my favorite ones from back in the day. But this one was just communal. It's like, let's all, what is the song supposed to be called? And we got together and people had vetoes, and it was very democratic, very few arguments. Just Garbage Plate was one, because I wanted it to be Going for a Garbage Plate, and they were just like, just Garbage Plate. And I was like, we're not cool enough to have a song just called Garbage Plate.
Need some context.
For some reason, that really stuck with me. And that was like, all right, Going for the Garbage Plate. We were all like, all right, yeah, that's good. That's good.
I wrote a couple down that I liked over the years. Are You Still Seeing Greg the Orthodontist? But not Greg, Graig. Love that. Lost in IKEA is iconic. I think it's funny. It's awesome. Dick Van Yikes. Anthony asked me today, if you guys had a van, would it be named Dick Van Yikes?
Our first van was, and that's what
perfect.
It was named
that's
after.
What I figured.
Yeah. So that's perfect. And then Teaching a Narwhal Empathy, and we like, you know, Going for the Garbage Plate was one that we were like, that's a standout, fun, different song title name. So always bringing the heat with the different song title names. And it goes back to kind of, for me, early 2000s emo vibes, right? Like early Taking Back Sunday stuff had some crazy names of songs. So I get those vibes from that, but the songs are different. So that's cool too.
Yeah, the Greg the Orthodontist is still even longer. It's you can't kick me out of this band. You can't kick me out of this party. I'm in CLIFFDIVER. Are you still seeing Greg the Orthodontist? And then Lost in IKEA is not all those who wander are lost, but can anyone help me get the hell out of this IKEA? So
just follow the arrows.
Amazing.
The heavy metal. And when Bri joined the band, she's like, "Y'all are really into IKEA. Can't wait to go to IKEA with y'all." And I was like, "I've never been to IKEA, Bri. I just thought it was really funny one night." And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like your whole thing is IKEA. Like that's
So
your big
good.
dog." And I'm like, "We've never been to IKEA." And she was aghast and then took us to our first IKEA and we got it.
So do you know how many like Poang chairs you guys have sold as a result of that
I
song?
know, right? IKEA owes you some money.
I don't know, but I want my cut. That's for damn sure.
Just give me a recliner. We can call it even. Give me a recliner and a couch set.
No, I love IKEA. I keep saying we need to get arrested for trying to play in an IKEA. Like if we get there's 7 of us, and if we get like 10 friends and everybody grabs one piece of equipment to hook up, we could probably get set up in less than a minute to play one song before we get kicked out. Like that's my big stunt I want to pull, is like a song in an IKEA, and then like maybe getting arrested for like extra.
I think they'd
I'd
like
try to
it.
get there.
Oh yeah. I've never been to an IKEA either, but I know there's one in Mass, right, Anthony? Probably a couple hours from us.
What the
There is.
fuck?
I know.
Been a bunch.
You been? Okay, yeah.
You pull in the
Okay.
parking lot, you're like, am I in an airport? What the fuck's going on here?
It's the best. It is the weirdest. It's like I don't know. It's brain candy. I love shopping anyway, but like it, and the food's good. I love that lingonberry jam on those meatballs.
The Swedish
I love
meatball.
that shit.
That's what I've heard. I should just drive down for that.
They slap. They slap.
Love me some meatballs as an Italian, so I'd be down for
Avon,
Swedish
Mass.
ones.
It's in Avon, Mass. Actually, I lived in Massachusetts when that one opened up, and they had to shut down the exit. It was such a big deal. It was like I think it was the first one in New England. So,
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Wow.
but CLIFFDIVER put IKEA back on the map, just so
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just so we're clear here.
Well, and we could find a venue near Avon, Mass, to make this happen. So they're playing a show that night, but maybe they're playing a show that afternoon in IKEA. You know.
Maybe. I love it. Let's make it happen.
I just can't get arrested. I have priors. So
Yeah, we'll make it work. We'll befriend some police officers before.
I that's how I got one of them. I was drunk in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I tried to high five a cop, tripped over my feet, and punched him in the face when I was hammered drunk.
Oh no.
Yeah, my buddy's like, "Don't go over there. There's cops." I was like, "I'm in the army, dude. Cops love me." And then fell over and punched this cop. And
Bree's like, I've never heard. I didn't know this joining this band.
I mean, I assumed much worse. That's not too
Yeah,
bad.
that's not that bad.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Accidents happen. Right.
Sometimes you punch a cop.
But the problem was I won $200 for drinking a big one of those like plastic cups like this, full of Wild Turkey 101 without a chaser.
Oh no.
And I won $200. It was the night before, and so I woke up still hammered. And so I get arrested for public intox. My fine is $200, which I had in my
There you
pocket
go.
from the thing. So it was kind of a wash.
I mean,
It's a story. It's a good story.
great story.
You got through it.
I'm still here.
So you have you announced. I think we're recording the day after you announced. Yeah, the day after you announced tour. So starting in October, right? Early October, going out with Prince Daddy, Ben Quad, and Heart to Gold, Southwest, California, all over. Kind of what 10 or so dates, right? Something like that.
yes, I'm so excited. We've never really gotten to be on the road with Ben Quad before, like little dates here and there. But we've not gotten to spend like extended time with them on the road as long as they've been our homies. So that is very exciting. And also I love Heart to Gold, so I'm very excited about that. And Prince Daddy, of course. But the routing, even like the West Coast has just been very, very good to us and all of our experiences out there, especially the Southwest. They are crazy down there. Like they show up hard, they show up ready, and they are just so hungry for it. And like every time you come through, you can tell that you're dealing with like a scene of people who are really appreciative and who really want to keep people coming through. So anytime we get to go to the Southwest, it's always just like, it's going to be amazing just because of the support down there. But yeah, Seattle and Portland, we've only been there once before. And same with, I guess, Denver now we've done twice, but some new places, and I'm excited.
Yeah, just looking at the tour dates. Yeah, that's going to be
I can't
fun. I
wait.
mean,
Can't wait.
touring with with your best friends, basically. I would imagine. Just it must be like putting myself in your shoes. I would be so geeked right now.
It's so cool. It's such a fulfillment. Like last year, us and Ben Quad played some Hot Mulligan shows together, and then headlined a Christmas show last year at our Canes Ballroom. And so it's been these cool steps where it's like, you know, we're coming up together. I mean, obviously Ben Quad's exploding right now. You know, just signed to Pure Noise and put out an awesome. They're like full on screamo now, and it's so good.
Grams, dude.
It's so good, and it's awesome to watch. Like there were so many times that we'd play these little house shows, and when we first started, 2018, 2019, where we'd sit there and we'd dream about like one day we're going to be on tour together. One day we're going to be playing these big rooms, these big shows together, and just dreaming. And now it's like, let's go to be able to do it with, you know, some of your best friends, absolutely some of our best friends in the scene in the world, and it's special. It's going to be really special. Not only for us, but for Oklahoma music too. Like for our scene, it's, you know, to have two bands on the same tour, the same like bigger tour together, just really unlocks more doors for more Oklahoma musicians and bands to get out there on the road, because we have the talent, like we were talking about earlier. So it feels very full circle, and it's so cool. It's so cool to have those synchronistic moments in music where you're just like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. This is great.
Well, the album will be out. People know the songs. I mean, four songs are out at the, you know, right now, and these are big venues. It's not like you guys are going to be cramped on stage, you know? That's
the best part.
We've been cramped before.
Oh, I can imagine.
Shows. We played this coffee shop in Montreal where it was just like, you guys know how many people we had when you booked us here? Because like,
do you know who I am? No.
We're CLIFFDIVER. We're very important. There's 7 of us. No, but you make it work. There are some shows where it's all about just side to side movement and selling it with your face and your hands, and other shows like these ones, we get to just run around the stage and not get murdered.
He's got
by
the hair going right now.
Yeah, because those hurt. Tyler and I have been beaten, you know, but it's the price you pay for beauty. You know what I mean?
And to be fair, I've had them ripped out by tuning keys too. So like, I just, you know, we all pay the price.
And then that one girl like stole one of your braids. Remember, it came out and she like stole it after the show. It was so weird. It got
ripped out. Yeah, by the bass. It got wrapped around his tuner. And he just rips it, and so I had this braid. I'm like, woo, whip it into the crowd.
Did she ask you to sign it after?
Souvenir. She didn't, but I would.
Well, there you go. So if that does happen again, and you're the lucky recipient of a braid, just walk up. We'll take care of you.
100%. Roll up.
Exciting time for CLIFFDIVER with the album coming out, tour coming up. We do want to be conscious of time. Want to get you out of here. Before we do that, we got one little. This is the first time we've done this, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Are you familiar with celebrities read mean tweets?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a spin on that. It's a positive spin. There's no gotcha.
No gotcha here.
I was so excited. I was like,
I don't even know what I'm gonna call this. Random podcaster reads awesome comments. So we've been studying up for this. We've been watching, you know, YouTube stuff, Twitter, blah, all over the internet, and everything's so positive. I'm like, okay, all right, let's see what we can find. So I jotted down some of my favorite positive comments. You ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. CLIFFDIVER is so underrated. They're fucking great. So that's someone they're all in, right? Another banger from the Tulsa homies. Now that could have been someone in Ben Quad just hyping you up. Who knows?
Could have been my mom.
Love this band. I like the additional singer they added. Another comment, she's a total vibe. Another comment, she's badass. The vocalist is amazing. They did not specify which one, and this was on a YouTube video of the both of you. So
okay,
I guess that's both of you. CLIFFDIVER rocks, and they are the nicest people in the world.
Aww.
The next one, best band in Oklahoma. So rejects, see ya.
That's debatable.
Take that, Hanson.
Yeah, right.
Take that, chat pile.
Hanson still owes us a show in Portland. The middle brother, who's the singer, he was sick.
Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor.
Coolest.
They played like 4 songs, and he was like, "All right, I'm too sick to finish the show. We'll be back." And that was like 7 years ago, and they haven't come back, so they still owe us a show.
We'll hit him up.
I'll let him know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hit you with the encore. This is my favorite. This is the best cliff diver comment on the planet. You ready for this?
Yes.
How is it possible that Joey Duffy gets more attractive the more dad he gets? Did you write that, Joey?
I did not. I did not. No. Can I tell you my favorite comment I ever saw?
Yeah.
Yes.
I met this guy. It was like I met this guy at a house party in 2017 where he watched me watch him, watch me watch him listening to Fleetwood Mac's The Chain 30 times. He was really going through it, I think.
Wow.
Good guy, though.
Banger song. The Chain.
I remember
is
that
time.
party. I was going through it, and I did listen to The Chain 30 times straight. And they were party enhancers at the time, but we were just sort of like, So
Great song.
That was my favorite.
The dad comment, that was a good one. I mean, I like being a vibe, but you get to be daddy. I've always wanted to be daddy.
That's
daddy.
Amazing. You're daddy. You're daddy to a lot of people.
I'm daddy.
Are you actually Prince Daddy? Is
I'm Princess Daddy.
Princess Daddy.
Princess Daddy. That's my solo project. Album
really
out next
good.
fall. Princess Daddy.
Princess Daddy is a really good, like, do it all scene queen, you know, just like da 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 da, you know. I'm in.
Okay, good.
Next time, can you guys find some mean comments too, so I can hold on to them for the rest of my life?
Well, see, that's we didn't want to do that.
Well, no, I didn't find any. That's what prompted the whole thing. I was honestly this week I was just running through things. I'm like, these are all positive. So let's spin this into some good content here. But
I love that.
You'd have to start like a tontine if you start telling like emo sensitive bands the mean tweets. You know, it'd just be like, who's gonna do it first?
Yeah,
it would be me. It would be me. I couldn't do it. I can't handle it.
No.
We've had a couple of comments come through our purview about the podcast over the 4.5 years. So I feel that because not enough people know us to care, so we don't get a lot of them. But when we do, we're like, oh, that hurt. Like,
yeah. Like
our first EP when we were pitching it to playlists, and you'd get back. It was like that playlist pitch thing, whatever it was called, where you'd send it to a bunch of playlists, and then they'd write back what they thought of the song. And so Matt's reading out some of it's our very first tour, 2018, and he's reading some of them back, and then he stops and goes, "Nah, never mind. You don't want to." And I was like, "No, tell me. I can take it. Like I'm like real tough. Like it's not gonna bother me." And so then he reads this thing that's like, "Band is awesome, singer's terrible. Like get a new singer, come back." Jeez. And then I just sat there and I was like, "No, that's fine." And then I stared out like the side of the van for like 3 hours without speaking, just internalizing that one mean comment that people aren't mean to us. So that one is like fueling me all the time. And I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh no, oh God. Can't take it.
We got called woke Ken dolls once,
which has come up a few times in the pod. Yeah. We're two. I feel like I just listened to 2 woke Ken dolls. I was like, I don't even know what that means, man.
It kind of sounds like a compliment. Like,
what do I do with that?
Barbie.
What do I do with that?
I'd go make a T-shirt.
I know we should have capitalized on that when it happened. It was like 2 years ago. We've talked about it a bunch here, but it's the one that stuck out. Like I feel like I've listened.
What a dipshit! Yeah. What a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
We would wear those shirts. The two of us would wear those on stage. 2 woke Ken dolls.
I like it.
Podioslave at the bottom.
I like it.
Oh, I love it.
So all right, let's we'll wrap it up here. Birdwatching 9/20 SideOneDummy really soon here, coming right up. If you haven't heard anything off of it yet, go listen. If you're here because of you guys, thanks for checking us out. But yeah, really excited. You guys, this is a lot of fun.
Thanks for having us. You guys are awesome.
So much fun.
We love getting to talk about this and make new friends, and we'll hopefully be up to Maine very soon.
We got some venues that I think would,
losing Port City hurt. Yeah.
There's a 600 cap that you would have been perfect to headline, and then it jumps like 1,500. So
yeah.
Got the 300 cap room?
Yeah, go the other way.
2 to 3,
maybe. Yeah.
P home would work. Yeah. You'd be cramped on stage. Not a lot of room.
Actually, that's like 250. Yeah, Portland House of Music is like 250,
and it sounds good, and it's a cool little venue in Portland. Yeah,
that's perfect.
A good spot.
Yeah, we need to go to both Portland. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm all in for the P hole.
Yeah, P home, Portland House of Music, which is kind of a cool little acronym for it. Which, yeah.
Oh, P home.
It's P home. Yep.
Not P hole, Bri.
It could also be P hole. I
was just about to be like, I want your Like,
there is a bathroom. There are pee holes at this place, but it's P home. Well, we appreciate your time. We're excited for the record. We're excited for the tour for you, and we can't wait to maybe see you in our neck of the woods down the line.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Hope so. That's the plan now.
Hey, you both of you lived up the hype in my head. I had a vision of this, how this would go down, and you lived up to it and exceeded it. So,
well, thank you.
Nice thing to say. I get nervous about this shit, and that's like that means a lot to me. Thank you.
I mean, like, if you think about it, when was the last time you spoke with someone that you never met for an hour and 15 minutes? It's maybe been a while, you know. But yeah, you guys are great. You guys are phenomenal.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. We'll come back then.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have you back. Oh yeah. Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.
The Urethra is a great name. The Urethra Club. That's a good name.
It'll bring you back to the sex dungeon.
The sex dungeon. That's the Urethra Club.
Call it the pee hole as like the term. That'll be its nickname. Will be the pee hole. And it's like, what do you mean? I looked it up. It's like, no, it's the urethra on Maine. Call it the pee hole.
Yeah, we just call it the pee hole. Exactly.
Yeah, come on, you're tourists, dude. Tourists. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's the pee hole, man.
This is officially the most unhinged send-off we've ever done.
Oh, man.
We're here for
I love it.
Just doing our Cliffy duty, dude.